The sky is orange, not from sunset, but from ruin. The city stands in silence, its buildings hollowed and abandoned. In the aftermath of war, where humanoid plant soldiers were created for battle, most life forms have been destroyed. One wooden figure remains, Foster, clinging to the memory of his fallen comrade. Using a fragile electronic device, he recalls their last shared memento, a holographic image of their time together. When the machine malfunctions, Foster must search for a replacement part to preserve that memory. In the distance, a mysterious red beacon beckons him forward. This is the beginning of Foster, a short animated film currently being produced by Magic students as a Capstone project. And Foster is not just a story about a broken world, it's a story about survival, choice, and the unexpected ways connection can spark hope. You cannot miss it. It will premiere on April 29th, right here at Magic. Welcome to Behind the Magic, the official podcast of the Miami Animation and Gaming International Complex, right here at Miami Dade College. I'm your host, Brenna Werner, and today we're joined by the student team behind Foster, a Capstone animated short set in a haunting post-apocalyptic world. Blending environmental storytelling, emotional flashbacks, symbolic character design, and powerful visual contrast between decay and rebirth, this film explores grief, survival, and ultimately, sacrifice. Today, we'll go behind the scenes of the creative vision, production challenges, and the emotional journey of bringing Foster to life. Melanie, Juliet, and Mariana, welcome to Behind the Magic. Juliet will not be here. Welcome, ladies, to the Behind the Magic podcast. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hello, I'm Mariana.
Hi, I'm Melanie.
And I'm Juliet.
It's such a pleasure to have you ladies here with us today. I'd love to ask you some questions about your Capstone short, Foster. First, I want to know what inspired the idea behind Foster, a wooden humanoid, in this dying world. What was your inspiration?
So for that, I had a class with Professor Chute about a year ago, and we had to make 30 different silhouettes. And in his original silhouette, he had like these spikes, these wooden spikes out of his back. And so I pictured a wooden creature. And I've always been intrigued by apocalypse stories and more recently stories about grief. So it ended up being this idea of, well, what is worth saving in an apocalypse world? It's usually another life.
Wow, I really love that a lot. There's never really been a Capstone short about grief before, so I commend you guys for championing that. How did the environment, world building, the polluted sky, the abandoned station, the famine headlines shape the emotional tone for you?
Since the beginning, we not only wanted to tell the story to how the characters interact with each other, we also wanted to tell the story through the backgrounds and the colors. So throughout the story, you can see that reflected in the backgrounds and the colors. So yeah.
Yeah, your environment is definitely telling the story just as much as your characters. It's very impressive.
Thank you.
And at its core, is this story about survival, grief, redemption, or something else?
Well, this story in whole is about grief and regrowth.
Mm-hmm.
From the beginning of the story, we see that Foster is by himself. He is haunted, or he is reminded by the memories of his friend when he was in the war, all of this traumatic memories, and he's just alone. And then afterwards, when we get to meet the girl, we see that he changes for her. She didn't really do anything for him, but she still was nice to him. She brought the bat, she brought the missing piece, and because of that, Foster grew with her.
Wow, I really love that transformation from grief into growth and from death into rebirth. You guys illustrate that so beautifully. Can you walk us through your production pipeline from script to animatic to the point of production you are now?
Well, from the beginning, before the pitch, we were just all together. We were, getting ready for the pitch, watching, seeing the script, and we kept rereading and rereading. We were so nervous. The day of the pitch, our animatic was 5 minutes long, which is a little bit, not good, but it really did help us a lot. And since we got to the second part, it even boosted our confidence even more because we got insight from, all of these mentors, from the teachers, from students. And then once we actually were in the second phase, when we got to meet more students and we got to build this whole community together, it was really nice, We got to meet super creative students, they got to teach us some stuff from their arts. We got to show them Foster and the little girl and our environment, our story.
Wow, the production's come such a long way,
Yeah.
and you guys have done such a great job as leaders at the helm. Great work. What has been the biggest technical challenges for you? Perhaps lighting or atmosphere or dust simulations or character rigging? What would you say it is?
Definitely character rigging. Definitely character rigging. Because we all come from 2D. So when we go into, for example, Toon Boom, that's a whole different animal. That is completely different. And thankfully, we have students that really want to learn and, who really wanted to know Toon Boom. So, but still, having to have every single thing in a different layer, every eye in a different layer, every hand, you wouldn't think that the smallest detail will have to be in a different layer or like complete, like you just wouldn't imagine it, and it's a new thing to learn.
Wow, the diversity of the technology that you're using, that attention to detail, it's definitely going to serve you very well. What would you say has been the most difficult scene to animate and why?
Definitely the train scene, I will say. Anything when it comes to train, because it's just physics. Why physics?
Why does it exist?
Why? Especially in the last scene when the train cart falls.
Yes.
We had a class, we were just talking about the physics of how the train cart falls, how would that work, the lever, how would he jump out?
Oh, and also
Yes.
I remember there was a funny moment that we were trying to figure out how tall the mountain is, and being Americans, we're like, how many football fields high is this thing? Like, it was just funny trying to figure out that sense and how excited everyone was about it.
Oh my goodness. So you guys aren't just artists and directors, you're also mathematicians now. That's amazing. Well, you've done a fantastic job with it. And well, Foster begins with disgust and mistrust towards this girl because of how he's been treated by humanity. What would you say made Foster change his feelings towards this little girl?
Well, from the beginning, once again, he changes his mind in the animatic when it cuts to the monster who killed his friend. He's on the knees holding his friend when just a human is in front of him. Dirty woodlands. You come from this earth created by humans. For what reason? War. Then when you cut back, you're faced to this defenseless child, super innocent, who just looks at you. She blinks, wonders, you're not so bad after all.
That's amazing. Yeah, people can have such preconceived notions about any given group of people, and you guys have done a great job of weaving that subtext into your story. Why was it important that Foster ultimately choose to save this little girl, in your opinion?
In that sense, it would show a lack of character growth, I think, in Foster's terms, because he was bound to hate humans. He was created as like something expendable for an army war, and his only friend was killed by a human. So it makes sense that he would hate them. But in that regard, still, after seeing an innocent human life being wasted and him allowing her to pass and she did nothing wrong to him, it almost would be like him continuing the cycle of cruelty from his oppressors. So he needed to sort of let go of that hate.
Well, that's absolutely brilliant, right? That now he is exhibiting the empathy that he himself was denied.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful journey. Why was it, I'm sorry, what feedback from faculty or industry mentors most impacted your film along the way?
The biggest impact was the change from the plant incubator to the hologram. Because in the original, we had the full script, the whole story into the plant incubator. Foster goes, he searches for the missing piece for the plant to regrow life to honor his friend. But with the hologram, it's more, he still has the memory of his friend, but he loses it. But it's still with him, whether or not be physical, but mental.
Wow, that's so beautiful. Yeah, exactly. Just because the machine malfunctions doesn't mean that the beautiful relationship they shared is now lost. And by him letting go of that technology, he's able to kind of find a new friendship. I think that's such a beautiful message in your film. How did working under Capstone deadlines change how you guys approached this collaboration?
We're all social butterflies now. We all could talk in front of the class. We could all talk, one by one. Heck, all of us have our own calendars. We have our own notes. It's been a lot.
I love it. And start the podcast too. You can add that to the list. Great job, ladies. Definitely boss energy. What did you learn about pipeline discipline versus creative ambition?
Well, we have a lot of big ideas in the beginning. a lot of ambition. Originally, the animatic was 4 minutes long. We have to cut it to 2. So yeah, we have to adapt and be realistic with the time and the team we had. But yeah, we made everything work, and hopefully we have everything put together well.
Definitely. I think your receptivity and your flexibility really helps serve the short. It might be half as long, but it's twice as impactful. So you've done a wonderful job of that for sure. And I'm going to do a couple rapid fire questions for you ladies now. So prepare yourself. First up being one skill you leveled up the most during this project.
I will say the time management.
Oh, yes.
Because we have a lot of things going on. Also, the other classes we have to take. Also, personally, I have to do like around 40 backgrounds. So I have to be really quick and fast with everything. What else?
Really quick though, but to continue that, it's just imagining such a powerful story, 2 minutes. That's all you have, 2 minutes. How do you put on a line a story with meaning, with you want to add this and more stuff? It's interesting.
Sometimes limitations breed creativity, and I think that that's certainly the case for all of you. You've done a great job of improving your organizational skills and executing something within those challenges and those timeframes that you've been given. So fabulous work. My next rapid fire question is one scene you would redo if you had that more time that you wish you had.
Honestly, it'd be the ending scene with Foster and the little girl.
Yes.
We want more time with them bonding together. Originally, we were going to have a whole different section of they go back to a shelter. He gives a gift for her, a scarf, because they were in a polluted area. Chip kept coughing. So it's just like an equal respect, more bonding time for them together. But ultimately, we just have them hugging with the sunrise, which is still a symbolic meaning.
Well, I really hope we get a little tease of that during the end credits.
Hopefully, yes.
Hopefully, also after graduation, you ladies might be inspired to make a sequel and continue their story. We would certainly love to see that as well. May I ask also what was the hardest technical challenge for you ladies?
I will say keeping everything cohesive, everything in the same style, everything giving the same vibe. Because we are a big group, so not everyone shares the same art style. So yeah, keeping everything looking the same.
Wow, yeah, there's so many students, but only one film. So that is definitely a great challenge. And what would you ladies say is your biggest personal takeaway for this film?
For mine, I think the biggest one was done is better than perfect. There's something very vulnerable about being a creative person, and you can't make your best work every time just with the nature of animation that there's always time limits, and you're making something and you're re-editing it and you're redoing it and you're fixing certain plot holes and issues. And there's this hypothetical version of how perfect things could be. But the other day when I was in class, I saw a bunch of my classmates were talking about hypothetically, would Foster be a good president? And they were debating so passionately. And there was something very sweet about seeing people connect to something imperfect and real. And I think that's what people actually prefer, like the flaws in a story, the flaws in a character, instead of how polished it could be. And so I think, again, while there's hypothetical perfect versions of everything that could be, the best one is the one that's real and that other people can actually see and bond with and connect with.
Wow, that gave me goosebumps. Because it's true. That's the human experience, right? We're all flawed, we're all imperfect, but it's that journey together, that collaboration, that coming together, and the way it impacts us emotionally that will make Foster live forever. Amazing job today, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Foster reminds us that true renewal begins with courage. The courage to reach out, to extend a hand in trust, even when the past has left its scars. It's the quiet moments where friendship begins, hope sparks, and the future is built one brave choice at a time. Thank you to the student team behind Foster for sharing your vision, your discipline, and your storytelling courage. And thank you to everyone for listening to Behind the Magic. We'll see you next time.